Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SQ Patrons video today that I'm making for Jacob Good as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we've got ourselves a track on the screen. It's a live performance from Shila Amzah. This is a cover of Jay Chou's big hit titled Longest Movie, if I'm not mistaken. That's the translation for it. We're going to listen through it from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's do it. Let's go. What have we got? We may not be able to get this on YouTube. I'm going to level with you guys. But we will see. We do have lyric translations at the end as well. Great work on the cello and keys as well.
会不会小显狼狈？爱是不是不开口太珍贵？再给我2分钟，让我把第一天。
And the crowd is, as you can see, totally into it. It's great to have that additional guitar lead as well as a transfer. Solid change, keys signature wise. Trying to figure out
在乎
I'm trying to figure out how the performance worked because there were some times where there weren't volume changes, but like it's like there was still the similar loudness. It's interesting mic technique, eh? Yeah, I don't know how that works because I'm just trying to sort of like figure out how they would have EQ'd or limited that to make that work, especially with all the surrounding elements. If it was that sensitive, you feel like it would have picked up everything else as well. Aside from that, though, we're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. But just before we get into that, before we get into the conclusion, we've got the lyrics here for the longest movie. Our beginning was a very long movie. It showed, for 3 years, I still have the tickets. Makes sense. The ballet on ice is still twirling in my mind. I watch you as I slowly forget you. Is love only precious if you don't talk about it? Give me 2 more minutes. Let me freeze the memories into ice. You said you'd cry not because you care. Okay. I kind of understand this. I get this. I understand why it's accessible. I like the imagery with the blades of the ice skates, you know, who's changed it a circle around. I like some of the imagery here. We're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track, this cover of a song from Jay Chou titled Longest Movie. Their cover of it. Yeah, a cover of one of Jay Chou's biggest hits. And I feel like they did very well here. In this section, I'm going to provide an overall song analysis of everything from lyrics and vocals all the way through to studio production, as well as any applicable constructive critique. And then finally, my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But first of all, what do we think this track is about? Well, as per the section that we had in the lyric part there, I think that this song is about someone who is kind of gazing into what has occurred before them, and they're going, okay, what was our life together? Why? It was like a movie. For 3 years it lasted, you know, like if it was to come to a close and we were to reignite it, would it be a sequel or be the same thing again? You know, like they're examining the time they had together, the still images being very vivid within their minds. I like the ice skating imagery and the different sort of like ways that were communicated in terms of trying to sort of personify and make it more accessible, whilst also not sort of like underselling it. It still remains sophisticated lyrically. I don't really have any complaints about the way that the lyrics are written. I'm not sure whether Jay wrote these lyrics or whether he got Vincent involved or something like that. But either way, it's cool. It's nice. It's just a very pretty sounding story there that's kind of bittersweet, if not melancholic. The vocal performance from Shila is, if I'm not mispronouncing that, is fantastic. They're very comfortable in the head and chest voice. I like the vibrato they put forward. There's some interesting legato technique as well, a bit of vocal fry occasionally. They show their full range. They can be quiet. They can be loud, they can do all sorts of things there. And I feel like they captured a really elegant, eloquent performance here. I'm not totally convinced about which mic was picking up what, because again, it was just the position of the mic, understanding how they work. I feel like if it had been like that far away, not pointed. I'm not sure whether that was a cardio or omnidirectional microphone, but either way, I'm just not sort of sure what's going on there. But regardless, I still think it was very cool. It was great to listen to Shila sing, you know. Ultimately, yeah, no, they're comfortable in the hidden chest voice, a bit of mixed voice as well. No complaints whatsoever. They had great charisma on stage, great energy to it. The track itself, at about 4 minutes 30, is well fleshed out with a mixture of different guitar, piano, cello, string and bass takes, as well as a few range of other instruments. And I feel like you get more as you go along. It's a ballad format, but the verses and choruses intertwine and intersect. There's dynamic range there compositionally as well as production-wise. And it just sounds really beautiful. It's got these natural crescendos that occur throughout it, as well as a key signature change, you know, a key change near the end there, which kind of lifts things up a bit further. You know, it's very good. In fact, that entire string section sounds wonderfully lush at the beginning there. You can tell that they can really play their instruments. There's a sort of an intimacy to it, which matches, I think, the communication or conversation that Shila's having at the start of the piece there. And it's just nice to have an extended amount of time with those strings there to really set the mood as the keys come in to accompany it with a range of different bass and sort of right hand notes there, either arpeggiating or playing through different chord triads, extensions there for a bit of a jazzy feel, occasionally doing call and responses to kind of pepper in and fill in the gaps there and add a bit of chemistry between the instrumentalists and individuals involved. There is a nice sort of bit of articulation there occasionally with the runs there, legato passages we have on the keys as well, and I like the fact that they have room to breathe and they aren't too squeezed from a production perspective. We do make great use of the range of the grand piano as well here. Ultimately, I just think, yeah, you couldn't really ask for a better starting point with a sense of romanticism within a piece like this. I feel like it's very, very clever. Having the drums come in at the halfway point is a staple for the genre, but I just think having a minimalist approach there is still a nice way to instantiate a groove and provide a bit of contrast compositionally within a piece in terms of intensity as well. It's not a super luxurious drum performance, but it's enough to kind of get you through the piece and just appreciate a less sort of like colorful element alongside all the other fun stuff going on with the harmonies and melodies. But that wistful kind of guitar lead that you have before it comes in is a nice sort of atmospheric device there that does provide another lead, alternate to Shila's stuff, alternate to any of the other sort of parts we've had beforehand, where we're giving the listener different parts to pay attention to and appreciate their different representations of existing ideas or motifs there, and I think that's sensible. The bass comes in, and around the time that the drums come in as well with a slidey kind of thing, and it just is nicely kind of behaved in the low end there. It moves around a little bit to go between the chords. It's not just completely reliant on the root notes, but then at the same time, it's still kind of like a team player. And there are some unconventional chords that are put forward in certain parts, not just purely diatonic thematically, but at the same time, you still can appreciate that those are simply to provide a bit of tension before you go to the next part, and it's sort of style typical for this kind of music. I like the fact that as we continue through the piece as well, the piano doesn't sort of rest on its laurels. It provides interesting 16th and triplet note parts as well to kind of cascade up and down the range of itself. It's a very busy performance actually by the key standard, but at the same time, I don't think it overplays. It's just really, it sounds really quite lovely amongst the range that Shila is in. I think the relatively minimalist approach to some of the tom snare fills that we have with the drums as well are a nice touch there. We're trying to not overwhelm the listener, even if it's on beat and syncopated. We're simply providing a steady kind of passage to flow through and focus with the vocals on. And we have the focal point being on Shila for the most part there. We have some interesting sort of like lower kind of retardando tom fills near the end. But ultimately, it's kind of a very kind of balanced performance. I don't think there's a note out of place. Clearly, all the instrumentalists that are on stage are professionals there, professionals of their craft. I think that this is the best possible scenario for Shila and what they're trying to do. I feel like there's more I want to say about it, but at the same time, I feel like I'd be over-explaining things as well to a certain extent. I just think rhythmically, it's coherent with quarters, eighths, triplets, and sixteens included in different parts and different perspectives to suit. There's adjustments of groove and feel and pace to it rhythmically between the different elements there. There is changes of intensity, as dynamic range, and thematically, yeah, I think that it's major-oriented, but it's not in a way where it's trying to be super light and fluffy and happy. It's more like a track where they acknowledge that there has been a sense of loss, and they're just trying to find a sense of peace within that. They're kind of accepting it in a very bittersweet manner. I think that's the purpose of the extensions, as well as some of the angst to the vocal styles, like they're calling out to this person as opposed to welcoming them. So I think, tonally and texturally, the style of vocals we have here suits with the way that the music flows, and the instrumental and vocal parts are cohesive. The studio production, recording, mixing, and mastering wise, I think generally the keys, the strings, bass, drums, guitars, etc., they're well captured within the mix. I think typically you've got no weird resonances in the frequency spectrum. Highs, mids, and lows are covered. Music surrounds you in the headphones as well, which is good. It's compressed, it's glued, but in a way that makes sense considering this situation with the YouTube compression and stuff like that. I think it's still well handled and well panned. Nice and loud without pumping, bus compression, and limiting is handled. Just a really solid live performance. No applicable constructive critique from a general listener's perspective. Clearly, they are very comfortable on the microphone, Shila Amzah, And I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing or mispronouncing that. I apologize if I've been mispronouncing the entire time, I'm just not sure. But regardless, though, I think it was nice to be able to check out their work. I feel like they paid a fair tribute to JHL, and I wish everyone involved the best of luck in future. Because thank you for watching my review of this track from an ex named Shila Amzah, titled Longest Movie, the cover of JHL's track, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via the various social medias and YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as you need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SP Patrons video. Spiderhands out.